Hello and welcome back to another one of our Design League playthroughs, and this one is from Figz, who is another designer I don't know much about. And it looks like we are back in Boreal. It's been popular choice, and we've got kind of like one of our recent ones. There's a real openness about this with some little tree clusters that I really like the look of. Clearly just hemmed the whole thing in, which works well. Got a little house back here. I think I saw one somewhere else as well. Yeah, a couple. Some cool texture work. Boreal's great for the base textures greying out if you plant stuff underneath, which can kind of it can mean that you don't need to do as much planting. So yeah, let's leap into this one and have a go. Okay, first hole. So good looking hole. I would say the drive's pinched a little bit, but I don't really see much of a need to challenge this hazard. I guess if I go just where you put the pin, if I'm this side or this side, I'm basically having the same approach shot. You kind of want to wind your hazards in such a way that if I play to this side of the fairway, I get a better look at the green. Just strategy wise, this one becomes just can you hit the fairway, which for someone like me is not a bad test, and can be quite a nice one on the first hole, but yeah, I think you gain a bit more by putting hazards where people have to attack them. So this bunker I like because I have to go over it, I have to stop it relatively short. And you've given me a bit of a slope to help towards this pin. It feels maybe a little bit all or nothing, and some of the green slopes don't totally make sense. I think you've dropped the land down here to make this red slope, which is why it's just all bowling in down this way. Because if you look at this big red slope, you'd kind of expect the rest of the slope to go off the edge of the green, and it's not really doing it. We're going to miss the green left anyway, but that's fine. By quite some way. Oh, I mean, that's one way to make a birdie. Now this is the one I took the screenshot of. I think this is the best look because you've gone from really open to suddenly we're in this secluded little corner. I love the way you've kind of just planting and tree lines here are great. So you've got this little bit of openness here. I'm really glad you didn't put trees here. That's made the world of difference. Now green wise, I don't know if you need a punch bowl, so like all of the slopes filtering in on this short of a hole. Generally this type of green is best saved for something a bit longer, kind of 200 yards plus really. Planting down here is really good. Like it's nothing. I think you could mix in your grasses a little bit more, give some colours that pop, but bushes and tree lines are done well and definitely help the way it looks. Actually, just a stock. Yeah, not too bad. I mean, the good thing about you've used basically all theme items, which is good, and they mix in really well as a result. There's nothing like OTT. I think you could get a bit more adventurous with your planting, but this is a solid start. Oh, 2 from 2. Lighting wise, good. Perhaps a little bit heavy on the fog, but I mean it works. So this one perhaps it could be a touch confusing. You'd have to check the overhead to know which one you're aiming for. Usually when we join fairways like this, you have holes running in the opposite direction, and that's really so that people don't tend to get confused as to which one they're going for. Because imagine if you're playing this in real life, you could well assume that you're playing to that one. Splines around the bunker, I think you could be doing this a bit neater. So it generally, if you go this tight, there's no way to do it this tightly to the shape. For a shape like this anyway, it's just not going to work. Generally just do a smooth circle around it and it will look a lot better. Kind of like you've done here. Again, like with the first, like there's no, I wouldn't say there's any real danger off the tee. Like you can just, no, I think that's going to be a common comment. the tee shots are really just set up, and no matter how far right I go, I'm still not getting a much better angle into this pin. It's the ideas are there. I think the angles just need a little bit of refinement. That might need to sit down just a touch. Pretty much where I wanted it though. I like the shape of the green. I really like these two bunkers. Would have liked to angle a bit more diagonally, and then that way, if you're thinking about it, if I'm coming in from over here, you're wanting to make this side of the green accessible, and just like you can get around these bunkers. So if you turn those so they're a bit more on this sort of diagonal line, then if I go and challenge this bunker and go right of it, well, maybe I get an angle up to this green, this pin. But as is, because it's also horizontal and then perpendicular to the fairway, it kind of doesn't matter which side I go, because I'm not generating any more of an angle. Like diagonals generally work much better for angles. Well, there's a start. Okay, 4, drivable par 4, and I like putting in a drivable par 4 always for variety. I think the question is, again, like, and it's becoming the same thing on each tee shot really, what's my danger? If I go and I end up in the heavy rough, I'm probably still chipping. Like on a drivable par 4, you want to give me a reason to go, actually, you know what, the sensible play is hybrid here, or 5-wood here, not, well, just aim and fire. Which I kind of think this one is, because even if we end up in the rough, like, it's a splash shot, which should hopefully be pretty straightforward. And you had some interesting slopes. Like I wonder whether if you, it depends. I think you need something really big around the green for a drivable par 4. Still, 5 under through 4 is entertaining. Kind of same comment on the angles here. I do like that we've got bunkers more in play here for sure. So this one's one we need to carry, and this one's ones we need to run into. Like channel this sort of hasding is much better. And just take that forward into next courses. Again, if you angle the green a little bit more, then maybe playing out to the left. So we load up our overhead again. Oh, sorry, need to scoot out. You kind of want it being so that if I angle these bunkers, or challenge those bunkers, and I get this line in, well then maybe that's good for this pin, and you can kind of get around this bunker, so move this one just a touch over here. But if I was coming in from this side, then I'm going over the bunkers. Whereas if I come in from this side, I get a better look at this pin. But in reality, the centre of the fairway is kind of the same for whatever. And I don't really mean like take out the centre of the fairway entirely, but generally like prescribing or getting a preferred side of the fairway is usually pretty good. Green slopes have been good. Haven't found any that I felt I didn't like. I think they're all fair. I'm playing pin 1, so maybe we have other slightly dicier pins. That's a horrible putt. Okay, and last hole, and we're going to be going straight back up that split fairway. So here, yeah, for this one, it's kind of more obscured than the other one, and now we're putting in a centerline bunker that is in play, which is good. But even then, I think you've given me so much space to avoid it, I don't really... He says. Yeah, I think we could pinch that a little bit more. My general comment on this course, as you can probably tell, is I think you can ramp up your difficulty a bit, particularly on tee shots. Well, didn't mean the red fast, but that could work out. And I think your greens generally are probably a touch, either a touch big or could use some more slope. Oh, didn't hit it. So yeah, I mean, look, really likes the environment. That's why there's not a huge amount to pick up on there. I think the spots that you're choosing for planting are perfect. Choice of plants have been pretty good. I think you could be maybe a bit more adventurous with that. Main thing, as mentioned, would be just ramp up the challenge off the tee. Dig into some strategy stuff. Look up things like template holes or study like top courses from other designers and work out why they're putting bunkers where they're putting them and where they're cutting the fairway. How are they making that tee shot like challenging? So you're having to think about where you hit driver, because I think that's the major thing. But it was really enjoyable, and it's nice to actually shoot well under par. Best of luck and look forward to seeing where you go next.